welcome guys. So today we will be continuing with what we left in the previous lecture. Okay, and today I have to start from separation of powers in India. Previous lectures we have seen what was the scenario of separation of power in USA and UK. Okay, and now we come on to our own country, India. India's governing system is similar to that of Britain. Both countries have parliamentary system of government. I guess when I was doing UK's system of governance, that time also I've told you that India has a parliamentary form of government. Under Indian Constitution, three organs are legislature, executive, judiciary. As stated in Article 79 of Indian Constitution, Parliament consists of President and two houses known as Council of States and House of the People. So House of the People is Lok Sabha and Council of State is Rajya Sabha or the upper house. Lok Sabha is the lower house, and it is mentioned in Article 79. So please remember, wherever articles come, they are very important. Article 79, there shall be a president and two houses in the government of India. Judiciary is Supreme Court, High Court and subordinate courts. Supreme Court is final court of appeal for whole of India. That means the apex court of law, as we all know. President is elected by electoral college consisting of elected members of both houses of parliament and elected members of legislative assemblies of the state. So please remember, how is the president elected? By the electoral college, and that electoral college consists of whom? So many a times this electoral college related question comes in competitive examinations or in the school examination also. It may be put up that electoral college consists of what? So elected members of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and elected members of legislative assemblies of the state. Nominated, see, houses consist of elected and nominated members, but nominated are not included in the electoral college which is for appointing the president. Elected members are only of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha involved in the electoral college which elects the President of India, and elected members also of legislative assemblies. Okay, now term of president is 5 years. Everybody knows President of India is nominal executive head because the real head is Prime Minister and his council of ministers, and they only take all the decisions, all the rules, all the bills are made by the council of ministers, and it only goes for a assent or by the president, and as soon as a bill gets the assent of the president, it becomes a law. Okay, so president is the de jure head and prime minister is the de facto head. Then the president exercises his or her powers with the aid and advice of prime minister and council of ministers. Usually advice is binding on the president. So president takes the advice of council of ministers or the prime minister, and then he is bound by that advice. Okay, prime minister and his council ministers are normally members of parliament. They play an active role in proposing a bill and voting a bill in parliament. As I told you, they make the bills, they make the laws, and as soon as the bill goes to the president and gets the assent of the president, it becomes a law. And who makes the bill? The council of ministers. So they have an active role in the rules and regulation procedure. The president has wide legislative powers to issue ordinances for immediate action during recess of legislature. Means when the legislature is not in work or the session is not taking place, at that time ordinances, means circulars, can be issued by the president. An ordinance issued shall have the force and effect as that of an act by parliament. President has the power to dissolve House of People. Now remember one thing, Lok Sabha can only be dissolved, Rajya Sabha never gets dissolved. Rajya Sabha is always in session, it never gets dissolved, and Lok Sabha can be dissolved by the President of India. Okay, so President has legislative power in the sense that he can issue ordinances, and the ordinance issued by President has same power as that of an act which is passed by the Parliament after discussions. President has power that he may dissolve the House of People. President has power to declare an emergency, be it national emergency or financial emergency or state emergency, whatever. Three types of emergencies are there in India: national, state and financial. Okay, president may be authorized to exercise legislative powers in case of a state emergency. Now whenever emergency is put on a state, okay, it is because of the legislative powers of that state has failed, or the CM who was elected there, he has failed in his duties to control the matters, to control the law and order situation of that particular state. Then on report of the governor, president may issue an emergency in that particular state, as it happened recently in Maharashtra, in MP. No, not in MP, because before it could happen, Kamal Nath already gave the resignation. Okay, so but it happened in Maharashtra recently when Devendra Fadnavis was the CM for 2.5 days, I guess, and he was not having the majority, so he resigned. And before that also, emergency rule was imposed. It was revoked in midnight, by which that earlier CM Devendra Fadnavis took the oath and he became the CM, right? So that all happened. So that was emergency. And please find the articles in which these three types of emergencies can be imposed by the parliament. Also find the article by which president can seek the advice of council of ministers. Okay, and passing a bill in parliament, which article, money bill, which article, find out all these articles of Indian constitution and learn them. Council of Ministers, including Prime Minister, is collectively responsible to House of People. See, remember this thing, Council of Ministers are responsible to the Lok Sabha. Okay, to whom they are responsible? To the Lok Sabha. So they remain in office so long as they enjoy the confidence of House of People. President may be impeached by the Parliament. Now see, what was happening? President can dissolve the House of People and Parliament can impeach the president. Okay, by discussions in both the houses of Parliament, impeachment of president may take place for proven misbehavior or incapacity. These are the two grounds for which president can be impeached. Removal of president from his post is given a particular name. That process is given a particular name, which is impeachment, right? Everybody knows this. You may have heard this word in your earlier classes. Find out in which article of Indian Constitution the post of president is given and in which article impeachment procedure is given of the president. Various provisions are incorporated in Constitution to establish an independent judiciary. Judges shall be appointed by President after consultation with such judges of Supreme Court and High Courts in states. Now see, appointment of judges is given in Article 124 subclause 2 of the Constitution. President elects the judges. For a Supreme Court judge, CJI, with the consultation of CJI and the President of India, the judges are appointed. Okay, and two senior most judges also are there in the collegium which elects the judges. For a high court, governor of that state, CJ of that high court, and CJI, that is Chief Justice of India, along with the president, elect the judge of high court, and it is given in Article 124 subclause 2. A 9-judge constitution bench of Supreme Court laid down norms and requirements of consultation process to be observed by executive on appointment of judges to Supreme Court and High Court and transfer of the latter. So this all that how they are elected and how the process is carried on, you will be doing in class 12th, chapter 1, that is judiciary. Okay, if you want to see it a little bit, you may see the playlist is already created on my channel. Privileges and allowances of a judge cannot be varied after his appointment. No discussion shall take place in Parliament with respect to the conduct of any judge of Supreme Court or High Court, except when a proceeding of impeachment is initiated against him. That means, once a judge is appointed to that post, you cannot discuss his behavior or his character or the way he gives a verdict on different situations or on different cases. You cannot discuss his character or his working criteria, be it a judge of Supreme Court or of a High Court, except that when a proceeding of impeachment is being carried out against that judge, then obviously it has to be discussed in both the houses of parliament, and then only that judge can be impeached. Okay, Article 50 of Indian Constitution provides that state shall take steps to separate judiciary from executive in the public services of state. So Article 50 gives that state can separate judiciary from executive for the public service. Object behind this is to provide independence of judiciary. Now once it is separated from the other two organs of government, that means it will be independent of itself. Judiciary interprets constitution, means it sees that how the laws or how the principles, provisions given in the constitution are to be understood, how they are to be implemented to give justice to the people. Judiciary is entitled to scrutinize legislations and administrative process and assess whether or not they conform to the constitution. Means judiciary has to see that whether the rules or regulations or the legislations or the ordinances which are made by the parliament, they are at par with the provisions of constitution or not. Means they are following the provisions of constitution or not. And foremost thing is, they should not violate the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. And if any law does so, then judiciary has the power to declare that law to be null and void, that is invalid. Judiciary provides for remedies for enforcement of fundamental rights guaranteed by Constitution. A writ jurisdiction can be invoked to move Supreme Court under Article 32 and High Court under Article 226. So please remember, as I say, these articles are very important. So underline all these articles and note down at a single place in a notebook, and whichever things I have told you to find the articles of, remember to search them out and note down also that, okay, note them also. And judiciary provides remedies that if somebody has violated a person's fundamental right, then he can approach the court for remedy for compensation. And if a fundamental right is violated, then writ can be invoked. And if you are going to a Supreme Court, then you have to go under Article 32, that my Article 32 has, I am invoking my Article 32 because this or that fundamental right was violated. And if you are moving to a High Court for remedy, then you have to invoke Article 226. Okay, so for Supreme Court and High Court, for the same purpose, different articles are mentioned in the Indian Constitution. Writ jurisdiction. Judiciary plays role of legislature while laying its own procedures for dispensation of justice. It supervises, administers, controls the subordinate judiciary, and thus performs an administrative function. Obviously, like in an office, there is a boss who administers or controls the people who are working under him. So if there is a Supreme Court and below are High Courts, below this are subordinate courts, then Supreme Court controls and monitors the functioning of the High Courts, and these High Courts monitor the functioning of subordinate courts. So this is how it goes. So the above branch monitors the lower people, right? That's how it happens. Okay, judges of Supreme Court, High Court can be removed on impeachment by legislature on grounds of proved misbehavior or incapacity. These are only the grounds for impeachment process, whether it is of judge of a Supreme Court or High Court and of the President. These are the two grounds. Constitution of India provides for powers and functions of legislature. Article 246 provides that Parliament and legislatures of states have powers to make laws. Matters listed in Schedule 7th of Constitution are under Union list, state list and concurrent list. These lists you have studied about in your previous classes in civics subject, right? So these three lists which are mentioned in Schedule 7 of Indian Constitution provide power to the legislature of states and the union, that is the union government and the state government, both can make law for the law and order situation of the country. Okay, state can make for the matters which are mentioned in the state list, obviously. Union government can make powers can make laws and regulations for the matters which are mentioned in the union list and concurrent list, on which both the union and the state can take the decision and frame laws. Article 368 provides for constituent powers of parliament and lays down procedure for amendment of constitution. So Article 368 says that constitution can be amended as and when it is required, because it happens that as we progress or as time passes, the societal circumstances or the conditions change, the thinking, the mentality, the mindset of the people change, right? And so there will be some laws which on time will become obsolete, means they will become of no use at that particular circumstance. Like if the sati pratha is abolished right now, right, that means the mindset of the people had changed as time passed. They had thought that now this sati pratha is against the life and dignity of the women, so they abolished that. So similarly, the laws which are prevalent today, it may happen that the mindset of the people may change in future and they may like to amend some of the other provisions of that law. So they can do so by virtue of Article 368, which give powers to the parliament to amend certain provisions of constitution except the basic structure. And this basic structure doctrine was given in Keshav Nand Bharti case, that is Keshav Nand Bharti versus State of Kerala is the full name of this case, and recently Keshav Nand Bharti expired. Okay, so this case is popularly known as fundamental rights case, in which Parliament, in exercise of its amending power under Article 368, could not alter the basic structure. So as I told you, Parliament can amend everything in as per Article 368, but it cannot touch the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. It cannot amend it since it's basic, so it has to remain intact and as it is, it was. The judges, while deciding this case, could not form a unanimous opinion on provisions of constitution which constitute its basic structure. On a perusal of different cases decided by Supreme Court, following features seem to emerge as basic structure so as to be beyond the amending power of Parliament under Article 368. So here are some matters which come under the basic structure, and so the Parliament cannot amend them. Supremacy of the Constitution, that Constitution will be the supreme law body. Okay, judiciary is also below the Constitution, government is below the Constitution, and all the civilians are obviously below the Constitution. Republic and democratic form of government should be maintained in India. Secular character should be there, means there should be no official religion of the country. Okay, we will respect all the religions equally. Sovereignty of India will be a sovereign state wherein no external power can intervene and cannot ask that how we or how the government of India has to take the decisions for the betterment of the country. They cannot instruct us what to do and what not to do. Judicial review and jurisdiction of courts under Article 32, Article 226, we have saw this. Writ jurisdiction, separation of powers and independent judiciary, and this was given in State of Bihar versus Bal Mukund Shah. So please remember, landmark judgments, articles are very important. Keshav Nand Bharti versus State of Kerala basic structure case, and separation of powers and independent judiciary was in State of Bihar versus Bal Mukund Shah. Then right to equality and rule of law. It is therefore for Supreme Court to determine finally the essential features constituting the framework of Constitution. So for the Supreme Court, it is important that it tells us that what are the essential features of the Indian Constitution, and if there is any law which is violating the provisions, then judiciary has the power to declare it invalid. In other words, Supreme Court has assumed to itself the constituent power in exercise of judicial review, and obviously if a bill is being processed, it is passed, and then it is seen by the judiciary that whether it is at par with the provisions of Indian Constitution or not. It may be said that court is undertaking a judicial review. Okay, because it is viewing it again. Review means to view it again. In conclusion, Indian constitution has not adopted doctrine of separation of powers in its strict sense. Nevertheless, constitution has sufficiently differentiated essential functions of organs, and no organ shall assume to itself what essentially belongs to other. We don't have separation of powers in its extreme or strict sense, but also we have separation of powers as per the constitution, and one organ cannot interfere into the powers or functions of the other organ. So that's all, and here this chapter is completed. Now we will be beginning up with this chapter 4 in the next video.